Foreign influence is a serious matter. It is even more serious in the middle of a campaign. So, given the gravity of the matter, it would have been better if the WP had issued its statement immediately without waiting until after MHA-ELD had issued their statement.
I understand the minister says that when the statement on Nudiros could have been clearer. I accept that. On the matter of timing, the joint MHA-ELD statement was published on the 25th of April at about 10 p.m. That's the 25th of April. On the 26th of April, the following morning at 9:30, the Workers' Party releases its statement overnight. So on the matter of timing, I don't agree with the minister that we took too long.
On the 23rd of April, Deros publicized his meeting with the WP. He said that the WP were the only ones who took him seriously. He called on all Muslims in Singapore to vote for the WP if they agreed to his demands. The next day, on 24th of April, Deros continued to speak publicly about his meeting with the WP. He also repeated his call for Tampines voters to vote for Mr. Faisal Mana. Only on 26 April did the WP issue its statement. That was more than 2 days after Deros publicized his meeting with the WP. This delay on such an important matter begs many questions. It can confuse the ground. For example, sections of voters might be misled into thinking on those 2 days that the WP was possibly considering Deros's demands. Deros was saying all these things and the WP was silent. MHA and Elections Department had to step in and say this was unacceptable. And after that, the WP issued its statement. Second, the WP's statement was ambiguous. The statement did not categorically reject Deros's call on Muslims in Singapore to vote along racial, religious lines. Nor did it reject Deros's support for its anchor in Tampines, Mr. Faisal Mana. If we accept that identity politics has no place in Singapore, then a clearer and more immediate response was called for. Foreign influence is a serious matter. It is even more serious in the middle of a campaign. So, given the gravity of the matter, it would have been better if the WP had issued its statement immediately without waiting until after MHA-ELD had issued their statement. After the WP statement was issued, Mr. Singh made further statements on 26 April. At a doorstop interview, he said that he stood behind the message in MHA-ELD statement. That made the WP's position clearer. Then finally, at a rally speech later that evening, which took place after the Prime Minister's press conference, Mr. Singh went further and gave the WP's clearest statement on the matter. He said that he categorically rejected the involvement of any foreign element whatsoever in Singapore's domestic politics. And two, that the WP does not need the support of any foreign element. It would have been better if the WP had said this right from the start, responding directly and promptly to what the past leaders had said. We hope that in future, political parties will immediately reject any such attempt to interfere in our political process, clearly and unequivocally. All political parties need to be absolutely clear. Religion must not be misused for political purposes. It must never be brought into election campaigns. Without this shared restraint, destructive competition for power and influence between the different groups can only follow. The same logic applies to race. And so, when there are threats to our social cohesion or attempts to bring race and religion into partisan electoral politics, this government must and will act consistent with the principles it has upheld over the last 60 years.
On the matter of timing, the joint MHA-ELD statement was published on the 25th of April. It does not refer to Nur Diros, who is a Singaporean. It makes reference to foreigners attempting to influence the general elections. Now, this comes out on the 25th of April at about 10 p.m. That's the 25th of April. On the 26th of April, the following morning at 9:30, the Workers' Party releases its statement overnight. At 11:30 or thereabouts, there's a doorstop interview, and I make the remarks. So on the matter of timing, I don't agree with the minister that we took too long. Who was Nur Diros before these elections? I didn't know him. I'm not sure whether the minister knew him or the ministry knew of him, unless he was on MUIS or had served with MUIS at some point in some capacity. I'm not sure. I don't know. But as far as the WP is concerned, we don't really have an operations room or a POFMA office to monitor what foreigners or what people are saying about politics and where they may be venturing into territory which is dangerous. If something is heading into dangerous territory, I think there are many ways for the national interest, for the government to communicate with political parties and say, look, this is not on, and we are communicating this, we need to come together, resolve it. Make that clear statement.
According to Deros, he met with all of the Workers' Party's Malay candidates. That means Mr. Faisal Manap and 4 others. Mr. Faisal Manap was and is the vice chairman of the WP, and if I'm not wrong, probably a CEC member as well. Mr. Faisal Manap and others need the POFMA office to tell them about their meeting with Deros and his posts.
I understand the minister says that when the statement on Nur Diros could have been clearer. I accept that. Just a matter of clarification, I think Minister started by referring to meeting Diros, and I mentioned quite clearly during the elections that he gate-crashed a meeting that Mr. Manap was having with someone else. But the points that the minister has made in terms of not wanting such interference, rejecting individuals who attempt to use identity politics to win votes, I can agree with that. And I think most Singaporeans will agree with that. The point I wish to highlight, and I'm not sure whether the minister has been unequivocal about it, is when something like this happens, there is an asymmetry of information. The government has a perspective which is far broader than a small political party. And my point is, if it is serious enough, in the minister's words, for the Prime Minister to take a measure such as stopping campaigning halfway to clarify a point, I don't think it's too difficult to reach out in the national interest to get that clarification also from all political parties as one Singapore. I hope the minister can consider this in future.
There is an asymmetry of information, and that is the Workers' Party knows what happened. We don't. We only know what Deros has put up. And I think even with that asymmetry of information, knowing what we did, it strikes us, and it seems to me it will strike anyone, that this is not acceptable. If you want the government to tell you what to do and what not to do in the middle of the elections, the government is also mindful of being seen to interfere with individual political parties. If Mr. Singh is talking about a specific reach out to the Workers' Party, we will think about it.